To the agenda.
Just that Suzette Ballard won't be joining us tonight under 8.3.
Okay. I do not see any public, so I doubt that there's any public comment. So moving right along, approve the minutes from Tuesday, August 5th, our regular wagon wheel meeting. Ed,
Motion to approve.
okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then we have the June 10th special meeting that we had. We have to approve the minutes from that,
Motion to approve.
okay?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any correspondence? Boy, nothing much going on today. How about board comment?
I just was going to mention to the group to make sure if you have any comments about the proposed policy for within SU choice to make sure to send those to me.
Okay,
Either email it to me or if you have it now or whatever works. Just want to make sure I'm prepared for when we go back to the group.
okay.
Next Tuesday.
Yes.
And what's the date that we're gonna have that? Or we want that in place rather?
Our next policy meeting, by August.
That one we want
But
by next August.
yeah, but we need to be making some pretty good headway because it's gonna have to go back and forth a couple of times.
By this winter probably. By the midwinter, we should be going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I'm hoping that the policy committee will be ready to give you another draft for review by November.
Right.
Ideally. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where the committee itself's at when we meet next week.
So if anybody wants me to pass anything along, please just let me know.
This is on the planning policy committee with school choice stuff. Moving right along, unless there's any other board comment. Jamie, do you have any board comment?
No, I do not.
Okay, we're halfway through the agenda
There are
already.
a lot of
boy.
comments, but not board comments.
Reports to the board, superintendent's report.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Well, you know, I would say people were asking me at the Tunbridge Fair table, how's the year off? And I said, it's been, I shouldn't even say it, fairly uneventful, which I've learned in my position is a good thing. And it's uneventful. So, you know, what I would actually say in all seriousness, I've been able to be in all of our schools multiple times, but your school several times. I've been incredibly impressed with the positivity that I've been able to observe at all levels, meaning with kids. When I ask them, I was eating lunch with middle schoolers here today, and how's the school year going and off, sixth graders, and they were feeling really good about it. So there's just some qualitative indicators like that we're in a good place. You know, I feel like that started way back in service. I think the principals did a good job of creating in-service plans with their leadership teams, which we had worked really hard. Ed was on the negotiations committee to get the leadership team language in this collective bargaining agreement to really emphasize that we want to create a distributed leadership model that is ensuring that all different stakeholder groups are helping plan in services and plan faculty meetings and plan the strategic direction of your district, which your continuous improvement plans, those were created by your leadership teams. I just think it's really important that folks realize that that's not just like principals sitting down with our chief academic officer creating those goals. Your teachers and support staff and principals are creating those goals. And I think what that's created is just a really positive start. And I'll say that I've also been incredibly impressed when I'm in classrooms, just seeing routines taught intentionally. We always say we need to take the first 6 weeks of school to really teach routines and ramp up so that we can go far and deep. But your teachers have done a really good job of teaching routines strategically while also implementing instruction, right? I think sometimes we get a little too carried away in schools around like routines were just routines, but no, it can be routines around the implementation of Bridges Math or routines around the implementation of our EL programming. So I would just say that that's felt really good. Probably the rest that I would have to offer will come under 8.2. We have been doing a lot of work in regards to Act 73. I can give you an update on where I think the political climate is as a state, but also where I think we're at right now in regards to the Act 73 MAP task force. And also just conversations that we've been able to have with some neighboring districts. So I'll give you a bunch of that information under that bullet item. Otherwise, I'll take any questions folks may have. Thanks for supporting the Tunbridge Fair booth. Peggy stopped by several times even when I was just there. You know, I would say in general there too, that there was a lot of really positive interactions that I was able to have with community members. And it was great to have my 17-year-old come home, who's a U32 student, and say that when she was at the fair, that she was impressed by how much WRVSU garb she saw running around the fair.
Nice.
So that was part of the intent. So that was kind of cool to hear.
When they went to make up the leadership teams, Jamie, did the vision meet the reality? We spent a lot of time talking about that, and we spent time talking about having so many people that were in the union versus so many that did everything work out the way that everybody envisioned when it came together, that we were gonna have enough people in enough quantities and everybody felt good about it?
Yeah, I would say that, yes, that was never an issue in regards to making certain we had, 50% representation in regards to the union. And from where I meet with your union leadership, the president of the union for the SU every 2
Right.
weeks, and the secretary, and I would say that the union's stance as well as that they're all, because they were a bit hesitant to want to engage in this some too, right? Because
Right.
that idea of flattening leadership and really trusting, is this really going to be distributive? And I think the experiences in your schools is that, yes, people are really trusting this process. They feel good about it. But I would say that has branched out across the SU.
And we didn't need for members. There was
There
plenty
was
of
not a need for
volunteers
members.
to.
No. These guys were able to get membership. I would say
Right.
that the membership makes a ton of sense. I mean,
Only because
different
honestly,
stakeholders are.
when I was sitting there at the time, I'm saying, these people across from me are saying, we want to do this. But we had 10 people in the room. And they were speaking for people that they had the right to speak for, but those people weren't saying, oh yeah, I'm ready to give up my time to do this too. So I did wonder, we gave them, I was like, are we gonna have enough people? Because that was such a back and forth point. I'm glad to hear that though.
Yeah, no, I think absolutely. Yeah, I have not heard that getting membership has not been an issue anywhere.
Awesome.
Do we have any positions that are still left to fill?
In your district, you have a middle school world language position that we've been trying to fill now
For how many
quite
years?
some time. And that's it in your district. And then across the whole SU, one other classroom teacher in Rochester that we haven't filled, but the rest have been filled.
Wow.
Food service and custodial.
And I missed it. What was the first one? A middle school?
I would actually argue custodial's
Foreign
filled
language.
now. We hired someone for this campus.
Yeah.
No, you're right, they start in 2 weeks.
So no, you're full. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Jamie.
In already foreign languages.
Do I? It's actually quite a joke. I got through Espanol too.
Okay, moving right along, unless there's any other board comments. Principals report.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Hopefully you took some time. I think we're gonna do a different way of reporting out. We talked about just doing 3 highlights from each different area. So, I would echo what Superintendent Carney said, that we are back and the start felt really smooth and lovely. And I think it's, really thanks to the hard work of those leadership teams that met this summer for the pre-planning of the opening, for the people who met this summer for the pre-planning about how to wrap around new hires with mentoring. And yeah, it felt, for me, feels good. My one highlight is that the elementary received silver level status from PBIS Vermont, and that was not knowing how to achieve silver level status until after the fact. They said, here's the new rubric, here's how you can get acknowledged, and so without knowing what the hoops were, we were able to jump right up to there. and I know next year we will get gold level status. So we're feeling really great about that. I think the biggest highlight too is hopefully you can mark your calendars and join us for our open houses. We're going to do them campus specific next year, this year. So Bethel's will be on September 24th for the elementary and the middle school, and the high schools will be October 1st. And we would love to have you bring a potluck dish and come and join us and have hamburgers and hot dogs and tour the school and see the work that's been done. And then last but of course not least is the checks are flowing in. We have made big bucks at the Tunbridge Fair because we got the ribbons. So I'm just proud of all the classroom teachers for being all in with, and with Francie Slater for working with putting projects in and having learning that was highlighted at the fair. So you might have seen the swag from the SU, but there was also lots of wonderful things that were submitted by our classes. So we're proud of that.
And you should be proud of that. I really enjoyed working the booth, a lot of great conversations at the Tunbridge Fair, walked away with some science resources and a biology project, had great conversations with community members about where they envision their kids going. It was generally very positive. Well, the best takeaway is to echo something both have said, that the number of our students who were there showing animals, who were there proud of their work, who said, hey, Mr. L, did you see my art piece? It was a bucket filler for sure. Far better than the maple milkshake, which has a high esteem in my mind, honestly. Some highlights from the middle school. We are feeling like we have really started off with a lot of intention. A lot of planning was done ahead of time to make sure some of our non-negotiables were in place. We've had 2 community meetings already. We took advantage of the very end of August and the very next week to address both the structure of that community meeting when we all come together, but also the pieces we're going to be turning over to the students. And we started by having the anchor common in all of our community meetings was a poem, a piece written by one of our students. So more and more of the community meeting is being turned over to them. Some of that work is being done by the Culture Climate Committee. A lot of it is being done by the students volunteering to have their piece or run an activity. And one of the themes we're opening the school year with in our thematic approach to the SEL component is starting off with connections. Where are your resources? Who are you connected to? How do we build connections? So we also started the year off by rolling out the improbable shot, an idea we got from our colleagues in Sharon. Long story short, we're already recognizing students for doing the right thing on the spot, trying to grow that culture, that habit of recognizing something akin to PBIS and all other systems, putting a lot of effort into recognizing the expected behavior and calling people out for when they're doing the right thing, far more than just acknowledging when they're doing the wrong thing. So that's been the thematic approach. It's carried through all of our advisories. The last highlight I would mention in that sense would be we tackled some fairly heavy conversations through our advisory work last Friday using one of the learning pathways from our equity coordinator to tackle how we treat each other, how we deal with issues of racism and pretty heavy concepts. How do we as a community process and move forward? Preloading that work. The last thing I would note in general was, you'll hear it referenced in my CIP goals. We have rolled out the EL curriculum in our English language arts classes. That is something that, beyond just my ELA team, but also my literacy interventionist, joined all of their colleagues from around the SU and the elementary school to really get some in-depth training over 3 days. This is a curriculum that gets unpacked, that has many ties to different levels of reading. I'm pretty encouraged by what I see so far. And I think an overall trend, not just in the EL curriculum, but in our classrooms, you walk in, you see the learning intentions, you see the routines, to Jamie's points, aren't just how do we walk to the restroom. It's when you walk into class, where's the warm-up, the go-to, the do now, then the next phase. The 6th grade team, for example, met today to talk about how they transition through the different phases of the class. Lots of good work going on. And I will kick it off to Shane.
Yeah, the high school's off to a great start to our school year. I've heard countless positive remarks from staff, from students. custodial staff, everybody kind of recognizes that there's a really strong, inviting, welcoming presence in the school community. And to Ed's question earlier, I think that the leadership team has been a critical element in that, and just getting our school set with a clear vision. I think there's a real sense of collective ownership, like we are in this together and we're all trying to solve whatever problems or concerns might be coming up. And so that feels really good. I think the leadership team structure is a big part of that. So thanks for your advocacy there. Highlights, the high school was recognized as for gold level status from the state PBIS team, and that's really reflective of a lot of work that's gone on over the last couple of years of building our MTSS system, making sure that we had the right processes in place to review, analyze data, make changes, and so it's great to see that recognition from them. This fall we have rolled out Clayful, which is a comprehensive computer-based social emotional tool that we received some grant funds to launch. It includes a social emotional learning screener that we'll be able to get data, school-wide data from, which is something we've been looking for a while. It offers chat-based coaching to students throughout the day and evening to support them in difficulties, struggles that might be going on. There are journaling prompts and other self-care kind of lessons that are built into it that we'll incorporate into our advisory structure. And so far, that's been a positive rollout. We also launched our elective seminar courses this year. Another shout out to the leadership team and really the faculty coming together and helping create this opportunity. And because of our waterfall schedule and all the half-day professional development days, we have this one extra block that takes place on our full-day Fridays. And so within that block, we are offering students had an opportunity to sign up for about 18 to 20 different course offerings. All of these are high-interest activities. Most students got one of their top 2 choices, which is pretty good and speaks to the diversity of offerings that was out there. The focus of these seminars is to really hone in on the WRVSU Portrait of Learner characteristics. So we're using this opportunity to teach those characteristics and be able to provide assessment feedback to students throughout the learning process, getting beyond just the academic proficiency, but what are these transferable learning skills that show up so often in learning and are so critical to future success. So far that's been very well received and looking forward to seeing how that plays out. We've asked all teachers to have a real strong community connection within that offering. So whether that's guest speakers coming in from the community, whether that's partnering with local organizations for craft fairs, things like that, we want to make that intentional connection to the community through these efforts. And lastly, we have the open house on October 1st, as Andrew mentioned. It's a great opportunity to come together as community, celebrate a successful start to the school year, and our band will have their fall performance concert at 7 o'clock that evening after the open house is over. So.
Thank you. I like this format that you've done this time with the bullets. Did you do that last time too?
I think we've been working
We
to
have.
clean it up.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it seems like it's just much easier.
How old's
to
the
come
kiddo from Japan that's visiting elementary school?
I don't, 9 or 10, yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
Oh, so like the same age
She
as
really
the
is
children?
elementary age, yes.
Okay, I couldn't,
No,
on a
she-
personal angle, I couldn't get a complete answer as to the child's age, but I knew that there was someone
She really is,
visiting from Japan, which I think is super cool.
it's really lovely.
How long is she going to be here?
It's just a short 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I think she got to go snorkeling her first day here, right? Like, she was excited to swim in a pool. Like, her goals are pretty clear what she wants to do in America. I don't know if snorkeling in a river in Vermont was on the goal list, but she did it.
That's great. Peggy?
Well, I was gonna ask a question, how did we do for tuition students this year? Did we have more, did we have less?
I don't know that exact breakdown, Peggy, I'll get that for you for the next board meeting.
I actually think it's in a report for you next month,
Is it?
October.
Mhm.
You'll usually get that, yep.
I had a question about that. I don't know if this is the right time to ask it. Capacity. I mean, what is our capacity for getting middle school and high school tuition students? Like, at what point do we reach a breaking point that our class sizes are getting out of line because of the tuition students?
I mean, my answer would be 2 of those students, let's just hire another teacher.
Mhm.
Right, like, so I think that might be what we have to decide at some point, but as far as actually capacity of the buildings,
Yeah.
I think we've got plenty of capacity.
You supported the current senior class, which is a very large class, going all the way from middle school up through high school.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many are in that class, but that's
60.
that's a large class. But
60.
no other classes touch that size.
Well,
do they?
the current 10th grade class is pretty
It's close.
close. Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be lovely for
Those
them
are
all
our
to be
two
that
grade
size.
classes.
So we still have room to be encouraging more people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that there will be a time we might come to you and say, we need to add possibly another teacher in X content area, right? Because we want to expand some programming.
Yeah.
But I think we'll be able to say to you, but look, here are the 4 students that help us pay for that, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can reinvest those tuition dollars into being the add a position, as an example.
No, it's just, it's a question I've had from people.
I've had it too, actually. I had someone ask me at the fair too about
Uh-huh.
that.
Okay, moving right along. Is Tara someplace?
Tara's at Sharon board meeting still,
Oh, okay.
but I've heard her report a few times, and you've had it written, so I can certainly answer any questions you may have. The big thing right now in the business office is, which is good news, is that our auditors will be in person the next couple weeks, and so we're right on track for you to have a completed fiscal audit before the first of the year, which is good. And in regards to budgeting, just know you'll get your first draft of your student support budget next month in October. So Tara likes to say she's currently working in 3 fiscal years, which is accurate. The audit from last year, the current fiscal year, and looking forward to next year. But those are the happenings right now in the business office.
Is she planning on coming here?
What's that?
Is she planning on coming here?
She is planning to come here. Yeah.
Is there a way to contact her?
I texted her when it looked like we were getting to her meeting to say I didn't think she needed to come, but I haven't heard back.
I hate to have her drive all the way here
No, I
just to go
appreciate
back.
that. I have not heard back from her. Facilities Finance Committee just came up at my monthly internal, like my admin team meeting, and she said she needed to get that up and running, especially as we get ready to start to kick off budget season. And just so I recall, you're on the Finance Committee. Were you on it, David? I can go look in the notes, but I can't remember. We've typically had 2 board members, so
I thought mine was just facilities.
it may be just
Policy.
facilities, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew still wanted to be on it, community
And
member.
as a community member, but in the past, we've had 2 board members. I don't know if there's any interest from another board member or not. They typically have met during the day.
Yeah, she's usually been during the day.
Virtually for like an hour.
Yeah, or less. It's like, I have nothing for you, we're okay.
But in budget, it's good to get a preview. Sometimes we'll talk through scenarios and strategy as you know, when we're getting closer to adopt a budget.
I could do that. I could be on that committee.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah. I wanted to throw in something too. Thank you, Jamie and Tara, that we are not going through what's happening in Claremont right now. makes me really appreciate you guys. I always appreciated you anyways, but,
Thank you.
but even more so
I
now.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm just letting her know, no worries to attend.
Yeah.
You're good. Per.
Okay, so policy committee, no updates since August board meeting.
No, the only thing I would just add is I've received some feedback from other member districts, and since you and ours had requested that we pursue this, and my sense is you'd be fine with this. There's been some nuancing around this policy of some folks who had some concerns that instead of calling this like a choice policy, calling it an SU transfer policy,
Okay.
which is essentially what we are allowing.
Yeah.
We went with choice.
That makes sense.
Language makes a difference for some folks.
Yeah.
But the rest of the meat would be the same. So,
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with that, I think. Transfer makes it sound a little bit less, it sounds like more of a solution than a.
It sounds too choicey.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
get
no,
it. And also it separates out the school choice issue from
Yeah.
within SU school choice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
so that may be a solution actually of some folks I've heard concerns around what we introduced may actually allow this to move quicker than we maybe would have originally thought. That language change and that idea around it may make a big difference around trying to move this policy forward.
Okay. Facilities.
So we did meet as a facilities task force just before the school year, late
Yeah.
August. So the updates that came from that is that we met with EEI just to ensure that they were planned and prepped for your board retreat, which is going to be on the 24th, to come in and provide you with really a turn-page overview of a phase 2 project, like what we discussed in August, that would deal with the secured entrances on both campus, take the current elementary, like the small gym in Royalton, and create a much improved and like 21st century performing arts space that still can act as a gym as well. And also that would deal with ADA compliance around bathrooms and the lift within the stage area. One of the things that we had not discussed necessarily as a board, but the facilities task force had conversations around, is a real desire, if we want to improve security of that campus, that breezeway really should be accessible year-round. So there's a breezeway that connects the large gym and small gym. Right now, we shut that down in the winter because we lose a ton of heat and it's not winterized. But on the weekends, we have lots of events where it would make sense to keep the events secured down to the 2 gyms. Or if one's the gym or one the performance could be happening, right? We right now if you enter that, what would be the new high school entrance, the only way to get over to the large gym is you gotta go all the way around the school. So it at times tends to have us having that school open a lot more during evening events and on the weekends, where we could close down that building much better and frankly just flow of traffic year round. That building, like as a high school student, if you have gym and you need to get over to the classroom just to cross that breezeway, you gotta walk all the way around. I think at times we encourage lapping or looping more because of that in the wintertime. So one of the things they're supposed to have as part of this proposal to you on the 24th is what would that item look like if we were to winterize that crossway. It also will still deal with the propane retrofit, but what it doesn't entail is any type of expansion to the building footprint. The other update I have with the facilities task force is that I did write a revised letter to the Byrne Foundation that I submitted late last week on behalf of the district and the district stakeholders to update them about the change in scope that the board was going to be considering for this project, and requested that they would consider upholding the $500,000 contribution for this project that would break ground next spring,
Yeah.
summer. And so I'm awaiting that. One of the things that the facilities task force talked a lot about is as you meet as a board next week, is once we see the proposal, identifying, yes, which ones do we want to move forward? And I think part of that retreat then too is just talking about how do we want to fund it? Like, I think by the usage of capital funds, and if based on some donations we've received in addition to the $500,000 one, and what we would expect we might also still receive as a large donation, that we probably could fund this without even needing to do any type of leasing. But one of the things performance contracting allows us to do with the propane upgrades is we could do some leasing like we did for the upgrade here. Remember, we used a lot of grant funds to do this Bethel heating project, but we also leased some of the equipment. Like, we have a lease payment with the bank. We own it at the end, at the conclusion here, but performance contracting allows us to lease. So, and we could also fund it partially that way. So those are some of the things. I don't know if some of the boards like, we're really gonna have a retreat that just is this, but I actually think if we really dig into this and able to get a real clear pathway, it makes a good sense for a retreat night.
Okay.
Oh, the other update I have is our neighbor, sorry, there was one more for facilities. Our neighbor, we talked about this at the August facility task force neighbor, our neighbor Bruce Button is going to sell property adjacent to the Royalton campus. And it's the property that as you pull into I'm calling it the elementary school lot, there's that swale that the fence is up there. That is originally what the engineer wanted to do in order to treat our stormwater issue, is that they could run the water into that swale, and it was gonna be the cost of that project was hundreds of $1,000s less. Remember that project's gonna be about 350. They were quoting that to be under 100 if we went that direction. So I did meet with Mr. Button and walk the property. I mean, the property has about 6 acres on that is right there. That property is between the law school property and the district property. It goes down on the lower field as well. Like, you'll see a fence up down at the lower sports fields at the Royalton campus, and there's some property, and it goes to the law school parking lot. Like right now, we don't walk that right now. There was a vision of the town at one point to have a walking trail all the way from the school campus that went under the bridge and got you all the way to Carpenter Field. Probably a decade ago now, but that didn't happen. So he's looking to sell his house in the property. I asked if he had any interest in subdividing the property, because I said the district may have possibly some great deal of interest in regards to the land. The house is up on the bank and is right behind the law school property there as you're going across the bridge. I did walk through the house. I have a hard time envisioning how the particular house would serve us well. Like, there was, people love to say, well, you could put the SU office in it. As I toured it, it would need a lot of remodeling and some expansion to put the SU office in it. So I responded to him to see, letting him know we were gonna have a meeting to see if he had any interest in subdividing, and he hasn't gotten back to me. But just know that that's out there too. And certainly, at the task force meeting, we decided that we should at least look into this, but that's where I'm at right now with it.
Am I correct in assuming that probably a good portion of the land is flood zone? No?
No, actually, a majority of it is not. It's
Wow.
actually subdivided into 3 building lots. So
Wow.
there's that swale, but if you look up above that swale, it sits higher up there on the left, and it actually is you can have 3 subdivided building lots right there, is my understanding. At least that's what he said.
Wow. Sounds interesting. Interesting.
It's a bit landlocked though.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
law school owns the land to those building lots.
Yeah,
And the
and-
school district,
Right,
yeah.
interesting. So, but maybe he would be willing to subdivide just the section that we really want?
I
And
threw
then
that
we could
out there
give-
as well.
And then we could give right-of-ways to the rest of
I,
it?
that part never did come up. So that,
I would think
might
that would be very valuable.
But I don't know if we'd want right-of-ways to go to the rest of the property, that wouldn't work too well. Because you'd have to
Well,
go
the
through the school
traffic flow
parking
would be
lot,
really
yeah.
difficult.
It wouldn't
Oh,
be
if they'd have to go through the
Yeah.
parking lot,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
The law school could easily
Right,
gives, their parking lot is much easier
yeah, right,
to
and
get
much
up
easier
onto
access.
Ah.
I wouldn't
Okay.
want access
Is
to
the
the
property already
school.
listed, or he's just considering it?
considering it.
Okay.
But there was a realtor there that day. I don't think you would mind me saying that. Like, I do think he's gonna list it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean, I just noticed.
No, yeah.
But I wonder if there's any appetite in the law school to have another office next door.
That's true too.
And
Or temporary housing even.
Yeah.
do they have a housing issue?
Gee,
I mean, really, if we weren't in Act 73, frankly, right, like even that kind of sprung some things in my mind. There's times we can't recruit teachers because we don't have housing. So I was like, if we were being a really forward-thinking educational organization, right,
yeah,
like past Act 73, not knowing like what comes of that, like the idea of a district owning something like that the SU could lease possibly for temporary housing at times to attract high-quality candidates could
Yeah.
probably be a real valuable investment.
yeah,
So that is the one part of the house that did come to mind that kind of struck a chord for me. Like, it could be possible that could be really beneficial because housing has been a real issue for us at times. We've lost candidates because of housing.
yeah. Well, thank you.
I wonder if the law school were to do that for their own, the same setup, if we could contract with them, if they did set that up.
Yeah, very
I mean,
well,
that's kind of a
maybe
pipe
actually.
dream, that they
Yeah.
would see that house and think that, and then therefore not have it full all the time, but
I think it is worth us exploring this at least idea with the law school. Yeah. Because the land makes a ton of sense if it was priced right, for lots of reasons. I think it makes sense for us because it's right there at our playground, right? If we ever needed to expand the school for some reason, that is some things that I've thought about. If you look at the infrastructure in neighboring districts, our infrastructure is in a much better place than a lot of our neighboring district high schools. And so, the idea of being able to expand that campus if we needed to create a larger centralized high school, could be a real reality, and that property could help support that work.
Nice, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, discussion items, 8.1. WRUD schools continuous improvement plans, possible action.
I didn't print them all out, but you guys did get them in your packets separate
Yeah.
as PDFs, and Calvin could pull them up if needed, but the principals are ready to review the overall goals. And as they get ready to do that, just know, so these plans absolutely drive our work. There is a bit of compliance here too, in regards to, I have to submit continuous improvement plans with the agency of ed annually by September 30th. And I do need board review and approval. And when you see the funding tied to them, the funding are tied, like some of those things, metrics that align to those overall goals is because title funds are gonna help support those funding needs, right? And so when they look at our consolidated federal grant, which is an SU grant, they go back to these plans and say, oh, you're buying these materials in literacy, and yes, your schools had goals in literacy.
Shall I start the line?
Sounds great.
All right. So in the middle school, we focused on 3 specific priorities. One is really going to be across the spectrum in the SU, and that's really looking at our attendance. Our goal of increasing attendance has a lot of components wrapped into it, including continued collaboration through Health Hub and our community partners. We're already seeing a return to school for some students we had engaged in those services last year. And we're fairly confident that continuing to build those relationships, as espoused in the goal and the follow-up, we are going to have, again, across the board, a pretty continuous impact on increasing the amount of time students are actually present for instruction. Our second goal is really based around math. This one very much was crafted out of a leadership team to look at first a data wall of the giant bucket of math scores, and then drilling down into very specific foundational skills. But we identified the most glaring area where we needed to support, grow, build was looking specifically at number systems, part of our critical proficiencies. We chose to focus on that and our actions to increase competency and proficiency in that goal, because really a lot of those foundational skills are in alignment throughout all of the various math classes we offer, but are critical to students succeeding when they get into linear equations, specifically algebraic reasoning. So building that foundation in middle school, I think, will help both the students we have taking pre-algebra and algebra in middle school. It'll help the students in all orders of operation, but it'll also help students be even more prepared for the kinds of math offerings the high school has. Our third goal is really based around literacy, and it's an easily stated goal that's already begun, the actions behind it, and that's increasing our literacy proficiencies as the metric, the measurement, but using full implementation of the EL curriculum. So it involves training, collaborative time for teachers and their colleagues to unpack the materials, how does it tie into global studies, finding those connections, and that's ongoing conversation, supervision, and work as we carry it off through this first year. We felt comfortable addressing that as one of the goals. So simply, let's do this correctly based on results that we're seeing in our sister schools in the SU who have been implementing EL. So those are the three main goals. The only cherry on top I would add is that the kinds of conversations, to your questions about leadership teams, they're already early on asking questions well beyond this as an act of compliance, but if we're gonna do this, we need to make sure special ed is in this conversation, we're collaborating with this person. So they're thinking about how to achieve these actively.
I think our goals are all really similar, so I think we all are required to have an attendance goal, because that's what the whole state is focusing on. So same attendance goal to improve everyone's attendance, but really obviously those who have moderate and chronic absenteeism. And I think if you dig into the details in the CIP, you'll see how we wanna do that. But on the elementary level, our data looks really good already, so we're gonna keep on the same track we've been on. Reading goals, same thing. We are utilizing the EL program this year, trying to really beef up the scores in the 3 through 5 population, where we always see the reading scores dip through doing this program with Fidelity, so we're hopeful around that. We also have a literacy committee, so overall improving reading scores 10%, and it's also overall improving math scores by 10%, which we're on a great trajectory last year with all the time and effort we put into Bridges, so we're just gonna keep on the same path with math.
So the high school leadership team met this summer at our retreat to review our previous year's CIP, celebrate a lot of accomplishments and things that we had achieved in there, which is great. And then drafted some goals, which we then reviewed at our first leadership team meeting of the school year. Today we actually broke into departments and had each department look at the CIP goals and then reflect on how they're going to work to support and achieve these goals throughout the year. You know, in the area of academic proficiency, we want to really hone in specifically on IEP 504 students and making sure that they are achieving the credits that they need on a year-to-year basis to advance and stay with their class and moving towards graduation. And then more broadly, looking for, similar to the elementary, looking for 10% gains in both ELA and math through looking at our FastBridge assessment data, so from last spring to this coming spring. as celebrated by the PBIS Gold Achievement, we do have a robust MTSS system. Through that lens, we'll be looking at identified students on identified support plans, and then making sure that number of students that score level 1 on their assessments is reduced by half. We've got a really strong intervention plan structure built into the high school this year with the addition of Hillary Newton, this full-time special educator that's doing a lot of amazing work with students, and we think that's going to have a big difference in overall student outcomes. And then lastly, again, chronic absenteeism has been a big issue and concern for us that absolutely impacts student outcomes. And we're doing what we can to address that. We looked at relationship mapping in an early faculty meeting, recognizing the importance and value of connections, having trusting adults in the building, creating that sense of safety, belonging that makes students want to be there as something that we have some control and influence over. So that's good.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
I do. Well, and of course, it's appropriate that all three of you said absenteeism. We're gonna say that every year, no matter what, until we have no kids being absent, like at all. But I noticed you both, all three of you said that, and then I as a parent got a special flyer that was quite snazzy, that shows extra effort going into this. How bad was our absentee problem? I mean,
We're in alignment with the state average.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, but that I
it's
heard
not
three
worse than
times
the state
here,
average, but
and then a quite a complicated, like some money went into that flyer, and I was like, well,
actually,
my wife actually said, this is a really nice flyer. How bad is our problem?
well, one of
And I
our
went,
interns, which you didn't get to see
Yeah.
at the SU meeting, actually helped create all these resources that we're now sharing out. So when you're getting messages or getting the flyers or seeing these Facebook posts, that is all the work that our UVM intern did for us around chronic absenteeism to ramp up for this over the summer.
Nice.
so it's not that we had a problem, it's that we've got an enhanced solution.
I would say to you, I think as a country and state, we all have this problem in regards to it being an unattended consequence of how we got into some habits of missing a day is not a problem due to the pandemic. Right? Like we ask kids to stay home all the time, or we put them in remote learning. Or I remember doing these awful phone calls at 6 o'clock at night with Shane saying, you know, X class is now quarantined for the next 5 days, right? Like every Sunday night when I was trying to watch football, that's what we were doing. But I just think it's that is part of why even as a state, you're starting to see the agency track this data where they were not prior, is that coming out of the pandemic, we need to get back to good habits around like missing a couple of days every month, starts to really lead to lost learning time.
Yeah,
It's true everywhere, yeah.
last year, what I experienced that was very different from 25 years before that was a really different approach to the most acute cases. We're talking single digit handful out of 150. We're talking a small
Right.
percentage, but we had to do something radically different. You've heard me mention partnering with people like the Health Hub, South Royalton Health Center. Bringing those folks in brought that conversation to the family, and we saw results. Again, we had returned to school for a number of students who had been more than chronically absent, who had missed huge portions of learning. And I was excited because the conversation evolved to what can we learn from these acute cases and start looking at the moderate kind of level where there's an impact on the learning, we could do better. What can we do for more students? A lot of the push, planning, the conversation, the resources is really trying to make a universal approach to all students should be here. And our approach is how do we encourage that, how do we support, how do we wrap around. Very different than I hit this number, I file with this, there may be a court case, it's less formulaic and far more human-centered. I would say it's not in reaction to a huge problem, it's in reaction to a solution that was working. If that makes sense.
No, that works. The new factor was that, oh, I liked the flyer, but it was so obvious that I was like, well, geez, what is this in reaction to? Did we have a big problem?
No, I appreciate the question.
And it's nice to know that we didn't have any exceptional problem.
Yeah, I think we've invested a lot in strengthening our intervention services and things, right? And what we realized was we can have the best interventionists in the world, but if we don't have the student in school to receive intervention and high quality universal instruction, we're not gonna intervene those gaps, right? Like, so it's just another data point I think that we are more actively looking at to say, like, we used to just say like, oh, the student's got gaps, what intervention is gonna be successful, right? And we gotta get them with this right practitioner, meaning teacher. And we may have been missing, but if they're only intervention 3 days out of 5, we're not gonna fill that gap. So we gotta figure out why are they not here 2 out of, as an example.
I was wondering, how the, I don't know what we're calling it, the kind of alternative school is going.
Watering campus,
Yeah,
that's sort of what we started calling it.
okay.
Our alternative program is going really well. Yeah, and I think what I will do is next month in October have Michaela Martin and Dana and Andy come speak to the board and share some successes. I mean, in general, the profile of student that we were targeting in there are some of the students that seem disenfranchised with school, and we were really worried about trajectory of dropout. And so, you know, we had perfect attendance the first 2 weeks, which was really great.
How many students?
We will be up to 15 as of next week. That's across the SU, but right now we have 12, but we have 3 incoming. One that's gonna come out of an alternative placement back. They've done some visits and are excited to come back to the program and we're able to offer, which is good. And, you know, the students are highly engaged. You know, one of the things I think that's terrific about the program is that they actually make a meal together every day, which has become pretty special to see in regards to that they circle up and they do some of their social emotional learning too around the meal, which has become kind of a really nice centerpiece. And I frankly have loved having it in the SU office because I was going to start asking SU office staff to sub in schools on a regular basis because I think it's really important that all SU office staff, not just on the instructional side, are connected to kids, right? We can't lose why we're here. And it's been really great because all members of the SU office have been really engaged in supporting and working with the students and trying to make certain that that program is really successful. So that's felt really good too.
Great.
And what grades are those kids?
5th through 10th is the goal. 10th, we say 10th because the goal would be that by the time they're in 11th, that they're feeling, we've created some type of connection to one of our campuses or to the tech center where they can feel some success, right? Like that's the goal. We certainly, you know, we're a system of personalized instruction. So if the team decided that this is going to be the pathway for the student toward graduation, we would support it. But I really wanted an end goal to say, like, let's try to get there, right? Like, let's try to have them feeling comfortable to reintegrate back into their home school or a tech center, or it could be BTVLC, right? There's lots of programs we offer. So that's where we're at right now. We have a 5th grader in there. And we go up through 9th grade.
1 10th grade.
1 10th grader? We do have 1 10th grader.
Okay.
And then all the kids are together, like,
But
so.
lots of breakout spaces.
Right, but they, like you said, they cook. They're cooking
Oh, yeah, when they
together.
come together for
They've
lunch,
got their
they roll
own little
together.
community
They
where.
do, absolutely.
Interesting.
And they're coming not just from ours.
Yep, it's
District.
across the SU. Majority are from White River Unified District right now, but it's not, it's spread out across. There's other member districts.
Oh, thank you for the update.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and what we need to do probably at that October meeting is I'm gonna invite as many board members as possible to come tour it actually. Like it's turned into a kind of a pretty cool little school down there. Like it's got multiple classrooms and, yeah.
And that's just down the road.
No, it's right underneath the SU office.
Oh, it's literally.
In the
In
basement.
the basement.
Because that was the old applied research building, so that is down there is where their lab space was.
For some
So
reason, I was
it's
thinking
pretty,
that like
it's set
one
up pretty
building
cool for
difference.
different classrooms, and it has a garage, they have a, like, place where they can do mechanical work right there.
Nice. Okay, thank you. Follow up on Act 73. Oh, boy.
So, I mean, this will impact budget. So here's where I think we're at politically, right? From like the Montpelier level, not the task force. I think there is going to be a carrot and stick mentality in regards to the administration, in regards to, we put $140 million of one-time money to help pay down the tax rate for the current fiscal year. If that money isn't somehow offset for the ed fund, then we're probably looking, before we do anything, at like a 4-cent increase on taxes. Okay? My sense is that there's gonna be some negotiating between the governor's office of trying to use some revenues to pay off some of that one-time money, meaning instead of 140, maybe they put 70 in, right? Like to soften the blow. My sense is that will be negotiated. And if it's negotiated, I think it's gonna be on delivering maps. Like this is how the sausage is made, it's clear, right? So deliver maps, there'll be some money put into the ed fund to help offset the blow on taxes. It's really important to remember that it's an election year, right, in November, so there's gonna be a desire from Democratic leadership as well to try to figure out how we don't have a real spike in taxes. Because in regards to the Democratic leadership, that is how they believe they lost the supermajority, was the spike in ed taxes. So, with all that said, I do believe there's starting to be some real momentum at the task force to possibly look into, which I actually think out of everything I've heard, I think is probably the best scenario for us around the regional tech centers being the new borders. And why I think that would be good for us is that our regional tech center is in Randolph. That would be an SU that went from exit 5 down to exit 2, because it does include CVSU. So what it does, it has Payne Mountain, which is Williamstown, Northfield have a district, that's K-12 operating like you. Echo Valley is a K-8, which is Orange and Washington, which looks a lot like First Branch. They have 9-12 choice. And then OSSD, which is Orange Southwest School District, they're an SD, which is Braintree, Brookfield, and Randolph, is in the middle. So it's really 3 more districts is all we're talking about. It would get us to 4,000. OSSD wrote a letter to the SU board chair, Kathy Galuzzo, and I today, indicating they've talked about our proclamation at their board, and they are interested in talking about what it would look like if they were to join WRVSU. Meaning their SD would go, their supervisory district would go away, they'd become an SD under the SU umbrella. Echo Valley has also shown that interest. I think there's gonna be some real conversation that's gonna need to happen at Payne Mountain. I think Northfield would like to go north toward Montpelier. I do think that tends to be where they go, where Williamstown sees a lot more in common with our SU. And so I don't know how the state will handle that district. But there seems to be a real appetite from those other 2 SUs to at least talk to ours. And so I like that in the sense of it doesn't feel forced if they went around this tech center map. The other map they rolled out last meeting was county map. And for us, I think that does as much harm to our SU as you could do, because we're across 3 counties and it really splits us up. And I don't see how you do a county map that's not an SD. right? Like, the county map gets to regional high schools, centralized middle schools, and if you're lucky, you'll keep your elementary. I do know that that was the preferred map. I have it on pretty good authority. That was the preferred map of the governor's office going into this. But I think that the task force is really seeing the purpose of SUs to support rural districts. And that SUs are about more than just choice, right? Like, I think that there's folks starting to understand that. That what I just described would eliminate 3 supervisory districts or unions into one, so there would be some savings there. And it would allow for districts to still have voice in how they move forward. And so Rebecca Holcomb and Jay Badams, who are 2 members of the MAP task force. Representative Holcomb represents 2 of our towns, and Jay lives in Stratford. So they're gonna join us next Tuesday. I think it's really important for them to hear from White River Unified District why you value being in an SU and don't want to be in a county SD, because they think the only reason WRVSU talks about SUs is because of choice. And what I keep saying to them is, no, White River Unified District has done a lot to come together. We've got a highly functioning system. Our enrollment's up. They don't want you to just dictate, no, you're going to go down south and close the district down. Which is more than likely what would happen if there was a Windsor district, is we'd be headed towards the south. Right, there'd be some regional high school south. And so I just think they need to hear your voice, because I try to say to them, like, listen, we have a fully operating K, and oh, by the way, we benefit as a K-12 district because of choice, because our neighboring districts in our SU are sending their kids here. And we reinvest that money to also better serve Bethel and Royalton kids. Like, it works.
Yeah.
And they just, I think Representing Holcomb has really started to wrap her mind around that. I think there's other folks that still think that the only reason that there's SUs is about independent schools.
Any questions, comments?
So I think at the SU meeting, we'll ask for a straw poll what people think about this regional map, because frankly, it's like this whole bill, there's gonna be lobbying and effort that needs to go into it now to try to see if we could get it there. Frankly, not just for us, across the whole state. If you look at the regional tech centers, there are long-standing partnerships within those areas, right? Like, they've had to work together on regional boards somehow to support their regional tech center. And they could choose to do it as an SD, or they could say, no, we want to be an SU, right? Like, example, our neighbors to the south, the Hartford Tech Center, right? Like, you don't have to force a merger there between those 2 districts. You could say, Hartford gets to keep operating this district, and I keep forgetting what our neighboring district, Mountain View? They changed their name, and I have a hard time. They could be an SU, right, with Windsor. There could be 3, just like what we're describing. You could have 3 essentially boards, or 4 boards that go to that SU. And they've, I think there's some things in common there regionally. So, yeah, the truth will be in the pudding, but it seems like maybe there's some momentum around that. And even if it isn't that, if all of our districts said that we wanted to start to work together, I do think when they go to draw the map, if they said, wait, you've all figured this out, you got 4,000 kids and you want to be an SU, I do think the legislature would say, these guys have done some really hard work in the last 6 months, and they seem like they have coalesced around this idea. That's fine. This makes sense in that region.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, 8.3 is off the table.
Unless you guys have, Suzette will join us next month. Julie really had some questions and wanted to dig in, so I thought it made sense.
Yeah, no, I think it makes total sense. 8.4, final planning details for September 24th board retreat.
So I believe, so Eric Lafayette will be with us. Also, I think the architect from Banwell, Matt Giffen, did I get that right? Matt Giffen is gonna join too, for that, the board retreat in person. Dinner, what are folks' preferences?
1 cheese, 1 pepperoni, 1 supreme.
I was
There's
looking
steak
for
and lobster.
filet mignon.
Salad,
Yeah.
salad, lots of salad.
Yeah, salad, I don't know, I like the lasagna that we've had and other things, but, yeah, surprise us.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm easy, I don't.
Okay. So I figure we'll do dinner, right? Like there can be some opportunity to visit. We'll have them in person so you can ask questions. They'll do a turn by page. I'm hopeful maybe we'll have heard back from our larger donor in regards to whether or not there's a willingness to uphold that donation.
Did we already have a time?
5:30 is what we had talked about last month. Does that work for everyone?
Where?
Oh,
SU office is what we had said.
okay. And, okay, it's at the same time as the open house that Andra wants us to go to.
Can't have it all. It's okay.
Sorry, Andra.
You'll have
Andra.
filet mignon.
Andra,
You'll have
Andra,
burgers.
whatever you are. I'll
You
never
can
get
hit
it
the road
straight.
in one.
I'll go to the other one, I promise.
okay.
I'll be there. Yes. I don't know that there's any other details.
No, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. No dietary restrictions, right?
No shrimp, no lobster.
All right.
No mayonnaise.
Nothing with a lot of
I
lettuce.
love mayonnaise.
Sorry, I said lobster.
I'm allergic to everything except
Bring on the
caviar.
potato salad.
Everything I make's got mayonnaise in it. Hey.
That's disgusting. Your father showed me his lunch today and that had mayonnaise. in it.
I'm sure it
He
did,
came to mow
yeah.
my lawn. And he made sure to show me.
Okay,
Bring chocolate.
so we've got possible action, the continuous improvement plan. Did anybody have any questions about it?
Sure.
Do we have a motion?
So moved
Second.
to accept.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, good, thank you.
No public.
By the way, I liked your goals, that you were very realistic, all of you in your goals.
you.
Like, you didn't say 50% improvement in the coming year, 10%,
100% perfect attendance.
yeah.
Well, that's the ultimate goal, but baby steps.
Okay, we're back to public comment. Yep, the public, yep. Hi,
They're all set.
hi, everybody. Okay,
That's him.
new hires. Anything?
All right.
That's the end of it. It doesn't even go on to the next page. Wow.
Yeah, there was some printing issues in the packets tonight. I don't know what happened.
Okay, well,
So we're done.
yeah. Hey, if it didn't go on to the next page, we're done.
I actually have just a general question, I don't know if this is a good time.
Okay,
Easy question, I think it's an easy question, maybe an easy question.
famous last words.
I understand that we have constantly, not just this year, but all the time, just issues getting enough substitute teachers to be on the list of people to call. Do you believe that that is a sort of population community issue, or is it a money issue?
Population community issue. I think people don't wanna work.
Okay, that's a genuine question.
no, I
because I'm
appreciate you
wondering if
asking.
There's a way to, and, you know,
We're at the
increase.
top end of our regional colleagues with what we're currently paying
Okay.
subs. I think we pay subs quite well. If we went much higher, I would start to worry about what we're paying our support staff
Mhm.
versus what we're paying a daily sub.
I wasn't even
Yeah, yeah.
necessarily saying that, I'm just trying to figure out.
No, I appreciate the
how to-
question.
It's something that I just hear a lot.
Yeah, you do.
So I'm just curious, I know that's a problem for the schools and not just for, um,
I am trying something more intentional this year with the subs that we do have. There is a third grouping of sometimes people don't come back because it's not a great experience. So first day with a sub, they're getting direct training through advisory, through essentials classes, through cores, beyond just, hey, if you need help, call. It's, I did that with a sub that's new to us on Friday. So we'll lead them through a day, run advisory with them, answer a lot of questions. And that's the intention with any sub that we get here, is to really spend some time improving how prepared they are, alongside with clearer and more articulate lesson plans, so that what's left behind is a continuation of learning. I can attack that variable, the experience.
I think it doesn't hurt to also prepare the students more for subs, that what I used to guilt trip my students with was, you know, the people who come in to substitute are community members. And if you are treating them in a way that is disrespectful, and they go back into the community and they say, this place is a zoo, and guess what? They start voting down our budgets, and guess what's gonna get cut if they vote down our budget? It's not gonna be math. It's gonna be sports, it's gonna be extracurriculars that we'll have, and the kids would sit there like, oh, really? And it's like, yeah, you know, treat people with respect, it's not that hard. Instead of the, you know, let's face it, probably when we were all kids too, you'd walk into the classroom, you'd see that there was a sub, and how did you react? Ah, yes, there's a sub today. Yeah, and sit in the wrong seats and don't answer to the right name.
No, always responded with the utmost of kindness.
I always just a drawer of chocolate for a bribe. You know, when I came back and got a good report, they got into my drawer of my precious chocolate.
Nice. But yeah, I think that, you know, to let the kids understand better too, that, you know, these are, because that's the complaint I've heard from people that have subbed, is that I'm not walking back in there again. It's a war zone, so.
That might just be a substitute teaching thing and not necessarily our school thing. I bet you'd hear that from subs all everywhere.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not just us, no, it's universal for subs.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about the sort of the stem of that issue, because I know it's a constant thing and it's not going anywhere, so. I don't know if we could promote it and say, hey, we're really friendly, or,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
You
some
know,
kind of
subs.
PR campaign.
Yeah.
Peggy, you wanna say something?
Well, when Jamie was talking support staff, I know in the past, there have been times where our support staff have been used as substitute teachers because we couldn't get them. Are they being paid substitute fare? I don't know if substitutes get paid more than
They
support
don't,
staff.
no, the hourly
Okay.
rates. probably,
Okay.
so.
Because if, you know, if they're being asked for more responsibility, they
Yeah.
should certainly be recognized for that.
job is worth.
Yeah.
I have a question, which is gonna sound really stupid to you guys, but since I have no children in school here, where do I get swag, Wildcat swag?
Follow us on
Do you have any,
Facebook. I do have some in my office, but a limited size.
Do I come to
A store's
Like
getting ready to
online
open up,
store.
I
right?
think there's a
There's an
store
online
opening soon.
And the booster, yeah, aren't they doing
Homecoming,
it for the?
September 27th, go to the White River Valley High School.
September 27th?
Yeah.
Where will it be?
At the high school,
At the high
soccer
school.
games.
Groovy.
I think 2:30 and 4:30 are the girls and then boys varsity.
Okay.
There's gonna be special potluck, boosters, have all kinds of activities planned, and we'll be selling all sorts of Wildcat swag.
Let me just see what shirts I
And
have.
they usually open the online store around there.
And we'll be more mindful about.
That takes a little bit.
School board in the future, sorry, I didn't talk
No,
about
no,
that.
no. I didn't hear what you said, because I
I
was
say
talking
we'll
over
be
you.
more mindful about reserving some from the school board in the future. The reason so
Swag
many
list.
Wildcat shirts are seen at Tunbridge Fair is we've been giving out a lot of shirts, or so glad to see you, Wildcat community. We got a gift from the high school, some extras. We've been handing out anything we can that's green and has a Wildcat on it.
Yeah,
And we've been seeing it all over our halls. It's part of our branding,
nice.
Excellent.
yeah. We'll get you some swag.
Any other comments, questions?
Answers?
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
okay. See you guys later.